What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. I am going spearfishing again. I know this is probably going to be the fourth video in a row. I have a couple videos down like in the chain line just waiting on my hard drive to get edited, but I've been having trouble with my Mac editing, and so I've just decided to just wait until my next computer comes in. So hopefully editing will be a bit quicker, but I've got like 5 or 4 videos just waiting to get put out. Today I'm with Tuan, right? Hey! Tuan? Yeah. And we're gonna be just diving for probably rockfish, hopefully a lingcod. I've never caught or even seen cabezon here, but apparently Tuan has, so we're gonna just see how this goes. I'm excited to get back in the water. I'm a bit roasting in the sun, but it's nice that it's warm. Sometimes it's freezing cold, and then putting on the wetsuit is just a pain in the butt because you're wet and slimy and cold, and it's not that great. But let's get into it. So starting off this dive, I saw this really big stingray, and I didn't get too close just because I was scared of getting stung and I was scared of it getting aggressive, but it was super cool to see. I've never seen one of these in the water. I also saw this really weird looking fish, and I thought it was a cabezon swimming mid-water, but it wasn't. And as you can see here, it turns and gives me kind of a side look like, you better not bother me. And I just thought it was a really weird fish, but it was just swimming in the mid-column water, just chilling. And on the outer parts of the kelp bed that we were exploring, we could see some of these smaller blue rockfish. I don't see too many of these here in Otter Cove, but I did see a couple. What's interesting about these smaller blue rockfish though, is they often think that your flopper is some small bait fish, so they'll follow you around like all dive long just trying to check it out.
Was he cold? Huh? My dad went in because he was throwing up.
Oh no! Dude, my dad used to do that every single time.
Yeah, so he's chilling.
Okay.
But yeah, I can dive with you now.
Okay.
I'm going to where I'll follow you. Did you see anything?
No, I haven't really seen it. Some small like coppers, some small like red and blacks. So at the start of the dive, Tuan was just making sure he had his eyes on his dad the entire time because it was his first time spearfishing. But when he dropped him off and came back, he went down, and on like his second dive, he shot something cool.
I just shot a bucket face eel.
Do you want me to get the spear?
I can get it.
Okay.
Hold your breath so then you can catch other fish.
So I offered to go get Tuan's spear because normally you want to get the spear as fast as possible, or else the fish might just find a way off, or it might get caught in some rocks like my last spear shaft did. It came out?
Came out.
So with the spear shafts, usually you don't want to push in or else the flopper closes. So like if you shoot a fish, never push it in. Just if you can't get it out, try to keep the tension on because that's what it's on. As soon as the spear goes the other way, it closes, and then the fish just can do whatever. Like I said to Tuan, there are a ton of these small copper rockfish just hiding in almost every single hole. After around an hour, Tuan decided to head back in because he was super cold. He had let his dad use his 7mm wetsuit, so he was stuck with the 5mm wetsuit, and that obviously was not enough for the cold waters we were diving in. I tried to check out a couple more spots that I had marked on my GPS watch, but I didn't really find much. I did see a huge monkey face eel on this dive, and as you can see right here, it's not really moving, it's not really going anywhere. It was a pretty good size, but I'm not a huge fan of these monkey face eels. They can be pretty similar in texture to rockfish, but they're a lot more fishy. Around 3 hours later, I decided that I was just going to head out, and on my way out, I saw this rockfish. I was thinking of shooting it, but then when it turned on its side and I got a different angle, it looked pretty small, so I decided to leave it alone. This dive wasn't too successful, but I wasn't expecting much just because this spot is so pressured. But on the bright side, if you guys remember from my last video, I lost my spear shaft shooting a huge lingcod, and I was able to go back there using the spot I marked on the GPS and I found a different angle in the rocks to get it out, and I was able to get it out, and it wasn't too damaged. It was pretty much in perfect condition. I was expecting it to be more bent, a bit rusted, but it wasn't. I checked the hole that I found the lingcod in last dive, just because usually if you find a nice fish in some hole, the next time you come, there might be a different fish, a different nice fish inhabiting it, but I didn't see anything this time. What's up, you guys? I think this is probably gonna be the same video, since when I went out with Tuan, I did not catch anything at all because there were a lot of small coppers, a lot of monkey face eels, which I think are not that great to eat, but Tuan liked them a lot, so he was shooting them, but I'm not a huge fan of those. I'm diving today with Eric, someone I just met on Reddit, and he hit me up with no posts on his account, and then hit me up on his Instagram with no posts on the Instagram. And so that was, I'm not gonna say, it was not shady at all. And so I was like, I totally trust this guy. I'm gonna come out to meet him and dive with him. But anyways, he's a pretty cool guy, and we're just gonna try to see what we can get over here because I'm at a spot that's not too pressured. Lover's Point is like the go-to place. It's the starter for everyone. All the scuba divers, all the free divers, all the surfers, all the swimmers, they just go there, and I generally don't see too many huge fish. There are a lot of smaller ones, but nothing that I would want to catch. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That sums up the last dive, and let's just get into it. So as we were going to the planned spot, I saw a ledge that we were passing by, and I asked Eric to stop to be able to dive down. And I thought there would be a lot of nice little holes to check out, and there actually were. And I didn't see too many fish in the first one that I checked. There were a lot of small little bait fish, which sometimes can be a good sign of bigger fish hanging around. So I checked the second hole right next to the first one, and I did see a rockfish just in the back of the hole. That's totally right. There's a pretty big rockfish down there. Well, I have to wait 2 minutes, or well, I have to wait like a minute and a half. How do you feel about this depth?
Not too bad.
Not too bad? You can go down because I have to wait a minute and a half and I'll watch you. So what up, what down?
I was actually planning on drinking water.
Okay. I didn't get my banks board until like 6, maybe like 2 months ago. So before I used to just come out and like not take any water.
Used to what?
I used to come out and not take any water.
Oh, that would suck.
So now that I'm driving down all the way from Davis to Monterey rather than just San Jose to Monterey, I try to at least secure one fish. That way I can at least make a good fish taco or some fish and chips from the dive rather than coming back empty-handed after such a long trip. And as you can see, this fish was just hiding out in this hole, but by the time I spotted it, I didn't have everything ready, so I had to go back up. You see the hole that I went to?
Yeah,
If you want, you can take a shot at that rockfish. It's like 10 inches maybe.
Sure.
So it's just below, yeah. But
Well, then we'll just leave it alone, right?
I mean, well, there's no limit on rockfish. You'll leave it?
Yeah, I'll leave it. I'll try to find something.
Because I've been wanting some fish tacos, so I'm
Okay.
probably gonna end up getting it then.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a dive down and check out the holes? Because there's some pretty good ones right here.
That's annoying. My gun. I'm gonna have to reload it because this band, it's caught under the wire. It's kind of annoying. I'll just reload
Does it have a safety?
Huh?
Does the rifle have a safety?
Yeah.
So I'll try to watch where you are at all times to not like poke you or anything, and just.
I kept getting caught in the kelp. Like myself. I kept getting caught in the kelp.
Can you swim on your thing at all?
Yeah. But then I stopped. And then that's when I got caught.
Yeah, I used to get caught in it all the time, but now with this, I just hop on top and swim, and I don't get caught at all. Dude, with the first fish, it's always so hard to tell, like, how big is it exactly.
Yeah. I don't know why though.
Like that first fish, it's always the first one. I'm like, I don't know if it's 10 or if you know, the water's just playing tricks.
So in the water, all the fish are enlarged. That's just how the optics work in the water. I try to shoot fish that are significantly bigger than the ones I know to be of size. The rockfish was still in its spot. And because the first few times I dove, I didn't do anything to it. It was super still, it didn't feel threatened, and it was a pretty easy shot. I didn't get a nice headshot though, so it was going pretty crazy, and as I tried to secure the fish, I just clamped my hand down.
Jeez, I stabbed myself with it. Yeah.
Nice one.
I stabbed myself so hard.
With your spear?
Yeah, no, with the fish. Because it was going to get off the flopper, so I went to put it on, and I like slid my hand up the spear, and its spike was there.
Are your gloves like good? Are they ripped?
Yeah, the gloves are good, but not me.
We ended up spotting this probably around 13-inch cabezon, and it's always super crazy seeing how good their camouflage is and how perfectly it matches the terrain of where they are currently. You can see here that its colors match perfectly the sand and the rocks around it.
It looks slightly small.
So I've been trying to use the 1-up 1-down diving system just for safety, and as you can see here, Eric just told me he was going to dive down. I gave him the thumbs up, then I told him I was going to dive down. He gave me the thumbs up, I dive, and he watches my back just like I did for him. It's a lot safer, and then when we come up, we give each other a thumbs up, letting each other know that we're all good and that dive went perfectly fine. And it's a great way just to make sure that we're both safe. We dove around in that same spot for a little while longer, but we weren't able to find any big fish, just a bunch of small little bait fish and also a bunch of smaller rockfish. So we switched spots, and when we did, I saw this big cabezon, so I let Eric know, and then I dove down trying to be as stealthy and as still as possible, using this kelp as a barrier between me and the fish, just so I could sneak around it and then get a nice close shot. But by the time I did that, I didn't know where it went. One of the cons of using this stealthier approach, of using your environment as cover, is that you don't have a direct line of sight with the fish, and often you might even lose the fish because it leaves and you're not able to track it. While I was doing my breathe up, Eric went down to check it out and try to see if he could find it, but he ended up seeing this opal eye and taking a shot at it. Total miss, but as a newer guy, that happens, and it happens all the time, even to the best of us, like me.
Dude, I totally lost it.
Yeah, I didn't see it anymore.
Okay, I'm gonna go right down there, and if it's scarce, track it.
So since the viz was so good, you could see it from the surface right there, and I just went down for a dive, using the same technique as the last time, moving super slow, trying to use cover. Another thing I did is I didn't go directly to the fish, just lined up the shot, last minute, took the shot, it was nice. I keep all my fish on a stringer on my banks board just because it's safer in terms of sharks. And when Eric and I were just swimming around, this huge lingcod, maybe 26-inch lingcod, just came right up to us just to check us out.
Oh, shit! Oh. Oh. Okay. Oh shit! Thank you. Dude, that was so huge!
Don't remind me.
I wouldn't have even seen it if it didn't start moving.
It can't check this out.
Yeah. The lingcods always do that. So with the lingcods, they're a lot more confident than any of the other like rockfish species that you're targeting.
But, like,
Yeah.
as I got close to it, it got like defensive. expensive. It started opening its mouth.
Yeah, so you'll have a lot of time to shoot lingcod and cabezon.
Yeah.
Rockfish, you don't have as much time. As soon as you keep looking at them for a long period of time, then that's when they'll start getting skittish. So what I will do normally if I see a fish like that, I will take a couple seconds instead of diving down right away and kind of orient myself, make sure my safety's off, make sure everything's off. And then one of the key things of going down and getting that fish, especially if you've got a straight line of view, is making sure, one, that you either have a different place you could go around, so that way you could get closer instead of straight forward. And two, if you're going for straight forward, don't look at it. Look somewhere else. And like pretend like you're going somewhere else, and then last minute, slowly turn your head and look at it, and then shoot it.
Okay.
But they get so skittish because they can see your eyes.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's funny because diving, you can shoot however you want. You can shoot upside down like I am now, or you can orient yourself like I'm about to do so that you're kind of more into it. And I saw that rockfish hiding behind a bunch of kelp, so I thought the backside of the kelp was the fish itself, and I should have taken a bit more time to see how big this rockfish was.
Dude! This one was in a bunch of kelp and I thought it was big. Oh, that's one taco right there.
I ended up spotting a greenling and I was trying to get a nice shot of it, but I couldn't sneak up well enough and you could just see the back part of it right there. I didn't expect to see this monkey face eel so far out because they usually live in the intertidal zone, and it was pretty far out, but I saw it and it was ugly like usual. By this point, Eric had already left because he had work, so I was trying to stay out of the kelp and keep my dive times around 40 seconds instead of a minute, just to be extra safe. I shot this fish, but for whatever reason the spear shaft didn't go through, and it must have hit a rock or something like that, because it should have been a nice, perfect shot, but I ended up losing the fish. Maybe around 3 hours later, I was starting to head out and I saw this rockfish. It was super still just because I wasn't aggressive towards it, but once I started looking at it, of course it got a bit more nervous and started heading away. I also saw this cabezon, which was only around probably like 14 inches. It looked too close to the limit size, so I didn't end up shooting it.
So that was quite a dive. I didn't see many big fish except for that one lingcod. I don't know if I got it on video, but I let Eric take a shot at it because he's new and I wanted him to get his biggest fish ever spearfishing. So that would have been cool. He shot it a bit too quick, almost right when I pointed it out. And it was a headshot, but I don't think the spear flopper deployed, so it just got off. And since he went for it right away, I wasn't prepared to chase after or anything, so it totally got away, which is too bad because that's a maimed fish, and also that would have been probably his biggest fish spearfishing, I think. So that was really fun. I've just been diving with new people and it's so much safer, which is nice. I mean, there's definitely some things that I've got to work on, but it's really fun coming out here with people. I'll show you guys the fish. And then the middle one right there is, I think, a 16 or 17 inch cabezon. Probably leaning more on the 16 inch side. So yep, that's it. That's the catch for today. Not too bad. I definitely saw two more cabezon. One of them I let Eric go after, but we lost it. And then the other one, I didn't take a shot at it just because I didn't feel like it. But that's it for today. I hope you guys like these or this video. I don't know if I'm gonna put it into one or two, but I hope you guys like this video and catch you guys in the next one.